Yes, it's good to be back on Insight on 93.7 here in Abuja, Citizen FM. It's day 3 of the coverage of the presidential and National Assembly elections. Results are coming in from the states. The Collation Center, that's the National Collation Center at the International Conference Center here in Abuja, will resume at 11 o'clock today. But for now, only Ekiti State has formally turned in results at the National Collation Center. Meanwhile, results from other states are expected today. Apprehension is still in the air. INEC is under immense pressure. Complaints have continued to trail the process, from late arrival of election materials to delay in the upload of results. The list is endless. And I have a guest on the program today. He's a multiple award-winning scholar and a communication consultant. His name is Dr. Tunde Akoni. He is a professor of journalism and digital and director of Digital Media Research Center, Lagos State University. Good morning, Dr. Akoni.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence. How are you doing?
We're doing well. It's good to have you on the show again. It's been quite a while we've had you on Insight.
Yeah, well, no problem. I'm in Lagos. You guys are in Abuja, so it's really...
Okay, so Dr. Akoni, we'll make the best use of this opportunity today. Anyway, if you're just joining us, this is Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and you can join our live stream on YouTube. You simply type in Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and you can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. And not forgetting that you can follow us on our social media platforms, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. So that's how it's going to be. But straight up to the issues, my guest once again is Dr. Tunde Akoni, a multiple award-winning scholar and communication consultant. Thank you once again, Dr. Akoni, for this opportunity. Okay,
thank you.
Dr. Akoni, straight out, we would like to have your overview of the situation since Saturday, since the commencement of ballot. A lot has happened. I'm sure you know that. What's your overview, general overview, before we delve into the specifics?
Well, let me start with my personal experience with the voting exercise. It really was smooth at my polling unit, and I voted here at Ikeja GRA. The polling unit is right in front of the Public Service Club. You know, that's where I voted. The guys handling the beavers, the guy handling the beavers there was quite adept, at least from my own assessment. So he didn't waste time at all with any of the voters. So, you know, within the split of a minute, he gets to run your data and then takes your photograph, and then you move on to the next person who issue the voting papers, and then you go cast your votes. So at my polling unit, there really was no problem. The ad hoc staff of INEC arrived in good time, and the process was smooth, and really no problem. It was quite peaceful there. Went there with my wife, and with another couple and their son. We all had a good time. However, reports from some parts of the country to the contrary, you know, that the Beavers machine was failed in some locations and so on and so forth. The machines may have failed in some respect. We don't, nobody expects 100% perfection from such a machine. But let us also not rule out the fact that some of the guys handling these machines may also not have studied the manual carefully, and get to understand how they are supposed to handle it. Otherwise, the experience I had didn't suggest that this machine has to be given challenges. But, reports from different parts of the country have also indicated that while there are issues in some locations, in some others, things went well. And even in places where there were initial challenges, people still managed to vote at the end of the day. We heard of the polling unit of Governor Wike of Rivers, where, initially, the Beavers machine didn't work well with him. But at the end of the day, everything still turned out fine. He voted, and I think his wife, the first lady, also voted. So generally, I think we can give INEC some pass mark. We can give INEC pass mark with regards to this deployment of Beavers machine. This is quite commendable. Technology ultimately will liberate us from so many of the problems that are peculiar to this our client. If people snatch voters' cards, they snatch, they steal boxes and some other stuff from polling units, it can necessarily have impact as such, because technology is taken out of the whole process. So INEC should be commended.
Oh, well, Dr. Connie, it's interesting because you are a little bit, some will say that you're generous in your assessment of INEC. The criticisms against INEC have been intense in the last 2 days. People have complained. A lot of were reluctant to upload election results, and in most cases, especially on election day, materials arrived very late, which led to the election dovetailing into the night. And these are allegations that are widespread across the country. What will you say about this?
Well, the reality is that the geography of this country isn't something that one can say is easy to navigate. If there are challenges in some locations, I don't think these were unexpected. I expected some of those challenges, that maybe today there are of voting materials in some locations and so on and so forth. But did they eventually get there? Yes. Where so if these materials eventually got there, with regards to the release of results, the uploading of results, this complaint that INEC is slowing down so much that it's hard to be faster than it is. Have we forgotten? Shouldn't we deploy this Beavers machine?
Nationwide. This is the first time on general election.
Nationwide. I'm not talking of the off-cycle elections. This is the first time that INEC is deploying this Beavers machine nationwide. So there may be, it is there. I personally believe that these are excusable. In some other parts of the world, far more sophisticated. We have read reports about computer glitches in the US recently. It's not unlikely that some INEC efforts, although we expect that INEC should also have anticipated this, but personally, I don't think. I just feel that we need to be a little patient, while not also indulging INEC unduly.
Okay, Dr. Coney, considering the sheer logistic deployment of INEC, the number of voters, the number of polling units across the country, and how to get this material to every nook and cranny of the country, would you say that INEC was simply overwhelmed by this challenge?
Well, anyone that will do any sort in Nigeria, I don't know how any agency at all can score 100% when it comes to deploying logistics nationwide. I can tell you that I've been part of national exercises for a few of national agencies in the recent time. And I know how much effort goes into organizing things nationwide. Even when such organizations, such agencies or commissions make effort, you still discover that, well, there are pockets of itches here and there. Not because such agencies didn't plan well, although we know that, yes, there may be cases of inefficiencies in some cases. But with regards to this national election, I still want to maintain my position that INEC has done fairly well.
Okay, let's move on from INEC. Let's look at other issues in the election. And one of them was the violation of electoral laws. We saw cases of violence, saw cases of thuggery, and so on. And this brings to fore again the question for an election offenders commission. This has been on and on over the years. Do you think the time is ripe now for us to start considering that commission to take away the responsibility from INEC?
Well, election
offenders
election offenders commission, I think we need it, really, so that no one will feel that it's about the law, including some of our elected officers or appointed officers. Because if people commit offenses and they get away with it, the likelihood that they will go back to it next time is very high. Or if there are appropriate laws that provide for punishment for such violations, then they will be more careful. I support that position that that kind of commission should be set up. Indeed, we shouldn't waste time about it. But I'm just wondering, how politicians will have the political will to do it, because almost all of the parties have the same tendency. What difference do you see between APC and PDP, for instance? I mean, and even Labour Party, all of them are same or same.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Akoni, because I know that one of the challenges that INEC was bogged down with also, even before the election, was litigations. INEC was practically dragged into every case that was in court. In fact, a few days before the election, the INEC chairman said on a particular day, the commission was served with 78 court summons from one political party. Isn't it time we start looking at how political parties behave themselves according to the rules of the game?
I think that question again.
I am saying that one of the challenges of INEC before the election date was the distraction of litigations, court cases, by political parties. And this was as a result of inability of the political parties to adhere to the rules of the game, to their own rules during primaries. Shouldn't we be looking at how can political parties behave, understand how democracy works, and respect how the rules of the game are played?
Sure, we need that. We need people. There can never be an end to education.